Welcome to our kitchen. Hope you can hear me with the AC units on. House is a little bit of a mess. Don't look over there. Don't look at it. But we are going to be working in the kitchen a little bit today. We're not doing anything crazy, insane. If you watch my video of things that I want to kind of work on in the house, there were some stuff in this kitchen I wanted. There was some stuff in this kitchen I wanted to work on. So we're going to be tackling some of it today. So today we're going to be taking this down right here and probably moving that somewhere. Taking this down just so we can measure the space. I don't have the wood for the recipe holder. That's going to be in a completely different video. But, okay, the cute things that your husband does for you, all right? If you haven't seen our gazebo video, check it out. But if you know, in that video, we had to redo the whole shebang, okay? And when we finally called it quits, because it was like very frustrating, all of this, like the rug and everything, was like out in East Bejesus, like in the middle of like the yard, and everything. None of it was like put back. And he put it all back. He put the rug down and he put the table back. Oh, all I have to do is move that thing and then put the oh, that is so cute. Sorry, it just totally distracted me, but like cute things that your husband does for you. Back to the kitchen. I saw that and I was like, oh my gosh, how sweet. So anyway, my heart just palpitated a little bit. He's so cute. So we're going to take this down and we're going to measure and prepare, the space for the recipe rack that I'm going to put up. We are also going to work on some of these knobs. I don't know if I mentioned that in the video. I might not have mentioned that, but, we're going to work on some of these knobs because I just don't like them. So I bought some new knobs on Amazon. These were very hard to fit because they're 2 inches. Like the holes are 2 inches, which is apparently a vintage size. I just don't, they're just a little bit too fancy. And if you look at like the rest of the knobs in our kitchen, I mean, we probably could have like matched a little bit better with the round square, vibes, but they're definitely more like modern knobs. So we are going to dip this down. We are going to patch any holes, and then we're going to try the texture spray, which I tried off camera in a different room, and I don't think we have orange peel texture, but we're going to just have to make it work for our purposes. So I'm going to have to like finagle it and do something with it a little bit, and I'll show you how I'm going to do that, and then we're going to change the knobs on there. So I have had this coffee mug rack situation up for quite a while. And when I first put it up, it actually was really awesome. But that was during like I was virtual teaching, the, C word. I don't even know if we can say that, the thing that was going around and caused everyone to stay at home. I don't know if we can say it without getting demonetized. Oh my goodness, demonetized. Because I know a lot of people have like bleeped it out because apparently YouTube doesn't like that word. I don't know if that's still a thing anymore, but that thing, the pandemic, maybe I can say that. I don't know. I was at home all the time. So I was drinking like hot tea and like hot coffee and stuff like that. But now that we're like back in the world, like I am taking iced coffee to work with me every day. And even when I'm at home, like during the summertime, I am drinking iced coffee, or on the weekends, I'm drinking iced coffee. So I am just not using it. The only time we really use it, or I really use it, is in the wintertime on the occasion that I have hot chocolate, which is actually very rare. Like my kids drank more hot chocolate this year because I had the hot chocolate bar kind of set up for them. I will link a video where I kind of talk about that down below if you're interested, because you could do it with like so many different kinds of beverages. It would be really fun. But like I am just not using any of these coffee mugs. So I have the areas patched. I do need to like wipe down the wall, but I'm going to let that patch dry, and I might do like a second coat because I couldn't get completely in to all the nooks and crannies. So I'm going to let that dry, probably do like a second coat on it, give it a sand, use the texture spray. We'll get to all that. But first, I want to show you the knobs. So for the 2 small ones, I'm hoping these are going to work. I just got these kind of like square ones. I wanted something that was kind of like bigger on the bottom, because there's like a hole in there, and I'm going to show you why I got something that was kind of like really chunky like this instead of something really small. But I got 2 of those to replace the knobs that are on the doors. And then for the drawer, I was a little bit limited. Like I said, the 2-inch, I'm hoping these are correct. I'm trying to open it with one hand. The 2-inch, it's not working. There it goes. The 2-inch like hole width was a little bit tricky to work with. It was really hard to find or they were really expensive. So I got a 10 pack of these. I didn't really need a 10 pack, but like this was kind of like the cheapest option. So here's kind of what those like handles look like. I thought they went pretty well with this right here. I mean, well enough. And I definitely wanted like a matte black. So it was kind of just like the option that I had really for the 2-inch holes because they're so close together. And I'm just really hoping that you can see that. No, can you? There you go. Maybe not. I'm really hoping they work. So let's go ahead and replace these. When I say finding handles for this have been a struggle that were budget friendly, it's been a struggle because apparently, like I said, or maybe I did say, I think I did. This is like a vintage handle size. All of the like drawer pulls that I was finding was pretty much, they were like the ones I already had. And it's just a little bit too fancy for me. I wanted something just a little bit more streamlined. I have actually been searching for years, like not like straight for years, but like I'll think about it and be like, oh, I'm going to find some handles. Oh, that's too much. I'm not going to buy those. And then I'll forget about it for a few months and then be like, oh, I really want to change those handles. You know, I'll search for them again and then I'll forget about it for a few months. But it has been quite a few years that I have been wanting to switch these handles up because they're just a little bit too fancy for our current taste. And you're going to see that I have a bit of a hiccup that is going to happen here. And while I was really annoyed about it at first, it actually ended up working out pretty well. You'll see later in the video. So problem, they're too small. Maybe it's a 2.5. Like I was measuring it from like the inside with the screws like still in there. So, and I have measured this several times, like over the years. Apparently I'm just terrible at measuring because these are now too small. Like they're tiny compared. So I guess I'm going to measure again and I'm going to see if I can get some different ones. Maybe I can, you know, do like a Walmart or a Target pickup or something to see if they have something. I don't even know, but these are not going to work. So now I'm kind of like, well, do I keep them to use for a different project? But I don't really have a different project to use them for. So I guess I'm going to have to send them back. And I hate returning things because it's just not in my nature to want to go through all that. So, well, these were a bust. So here's my confusion. Here's me measuring again from the middle of the hole to like the middle of the other. It's 2, right? You see that, right? It's 2. So is it me or is it the knobs? I'm so confused. Anyway, so now I have to figure out, did I get the wrong size? Was it like coming from a place where they use different measurements? I don't know, but we're just gonna push this back. Hopefully we can open that later. Yeah, we can. Push that back and we're just gonna focus on these, and I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that this goes better than the drawer just did. So I wanted to show you what we're working with here. This has like a little, I don't know if you're gonna be able to see it, we'll zoom in. It's like a little square, and then this has kind of like that square hole. So that's why I got the larger ones, because I'm hoping we can just kind of cover that hole. I figured out the issue with the handle pulls or the drawer pulls. They are 2 inches. The hole spacing is not. So the entire handle is actually 2 inches long. So just be really careful when you are searching for something. I typed in 2-inch hole spacing and everything, but I guess I just didn't read well enough. I saw 2 inches. I didn't completely hate them, so I just went for it, but I didn't realize the hole spacing was not 2 inches. It was the handles themselves. So we got the bottom handles on, and it's much easier to open the door now. Like before, like with the smaller handles, I really had to struggle. I can definitely open it much easier. Oh, it does get still stuck. It's an old piece of furniture. But, oh, that's crooked. I am trying to decide if I like them sideways or if I want them up and down. I don't know yet. I can't decide, but we're going to leave that. Okay, so this was not part of my original plan, but our drawer, I'm opening very slowly. I'm not really sure what happened here. No idea what happened, but I am going to have to take all of this stuff out and see if I can like fix that. Like, honestly, I think I'm just going to wood glue it together because I don't know how much a new drawer costs, and that was like not in the budget at all. So I'm going to take everything out, pull the drawer out, and see if I can maybe just wood glue this and like clamp this or something, and like let it dry overnight and see if that fixes anything. I was ridiculously nervous like to take the drawer out because I was like, the whole thing's gonna fall apart, but it came out no problem. It did kind of fall apart, but that's after I started messing with it. So I first just kind of cleared everything out of the drawer, all of the utensils and everything like that. And then I kind of had to like wiggle it back together. I have no idea how this happened, but it got separated, like the drawer front got separated from that left side. But also, then that one piece of wood just like completely split. It was the strangest thing. You're going to see here in a second a better angle of it. Right now, I am just grabbing my electric screwdriver to take off the drawer pull. So I had to start there to make sure I could get like good adhesion everywhere. But I have no idea how this happened. Like, I swear the drawer was fine. And then like I came back home and the drawer was not fine. I mean, the kitchen is very old. From my understanding, the house was built in like the 50s, and I'm pretty sure they didn't do a new kitchen because it was all like completely like oak. I don't even know what it is, whatever, brown wood before we painted it white a while ago. But it came detached, that side from the drawer, oh my goodness, drawer front. I can't talk today. And it split. So luckily my husband has these clamps that he has still yet to use. This is the second time that I have used them and he's still yet to use them, but they're coming in clutch. So I put one going one way and one going the other because I wanted to make sure that the drawer front went back onto that left piece, but also it was detached from the other side as well. So inside the drawer, the front is like attached to the actual drawer front. So like the fancy front that you see is attached to the actual drawer front. So I wanted to make sure I had good clampage going on there. I used way too much wood glue on this. There was a little piece on the side there that was kind of coming apart too. I used way too much wood glue. It was leaking out all over the place, but I wanted to make sure I got a good bond on this. And then I have that smaller clamp there, and that is to hold the kind of fractured, cracked part of the drawer front that I have no idea how it happened, but had come undone. So yeah, I got 3 clamps going. And I let this completely sit overnight and dry for probably a little over 24 hours, honestly, because I wanted to make sure it was secure. So here we are the next day after everything had dried, and I'm just going to be removing the clamps, and everything worked out pretty well. Like, so far, so good. The wood glue worked really well, and I do think having these really big clamps worked. I don't know how we ever survived without these. Like, I feel like we need more in various sizes because just having these clamps to help hold everything in all different directions, I think made a world of difference for us. So if you do not have clamps like these, I will have these linked down below if I can still find them. I got them on a Black Friday deal from Lowe's for my husband for Christmas. So if they still have them, I will link them down below. If I can find something comparable on Amazon, I will have that link down below as well. But clamps like these have come in so handy, and I'm just convinced now that everybody needs them. But it's now time for us to put everything back in the drawer. I did not reorganize this. I put everything back just the way it was because it was functioning for us. The broken drawer just was not functioning for us. So it's holding up really nicely, like I said, and I highly recommend clamps like those. Now, they did leave like a little bit of a smudge on the front of the drawer front. You are going to see, probably because I had it clamped insanely tight because I really wanted to make sure like everything held together nicely. But that was no problem because I just grabbed like a cleaning wipe that I keep in my pantry. I have a little container of cleaning wipes, and I just went ahead and scrubbed it right off, and it came off pretty easily. So don't worry about it scuffing your surfaces. It came off pretty quickly. Many days later, welcome to our wall. I'm going to be working on this. I did like double patch. Some of it is a bit thick, so it's going to take some sanding. And hopefully it will look okay after I get the texture spray up and everything. But we are going to pull this out and then do that, touch it up. I still have not found handles that I liked for this. I think I'm just going to have to settle. I don't want to settle, but I just don't know if it's going to be in the cards for me. My husband did suggest like filling the holes and doing like a different handle. And that just seems like a lot, a lot to do considering all of the projects I want to do around the house. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes. But wall today, that at a later time. So the stuff that I used to fill in the holes on the wall was that same plaster stuff that I used on the bench in our mudroom. If you haven't seen that video, I will have it linked down below. And I remember saying in that video, I'm sure this is not the right product, but I actually really loved the way that it sanded. So I went ahead and used it on the wall. And again, I really love the way that it sanded. Sometimes when I use like putty, filler, stuff like that, I find that it's like really hard to sand and it's very obvious where you've put it. It's still going to be obvious because the wall texture is a little bit different, but this sands so much better and it's so much less obvious than just some of the regular putty that I've used to fill holes and things like that. So again, I'm sure it's not the right product that I'm supposed to be using, but I have really enjoyed using it. I don't even remember where we got it, to be honest. This is the moment where the project turned upside down for me completely. This is wall texture spray that I had bought to use on several different walls, and it turns out that it is completely clogged. I used about like 6 squirts of this product like 2 weeks ago, and I didn't realize that you were really supposed to use it all at one time, so I wasted $16 on this entire can for 6 squirts. So what I decided to do instead, after about 45 minutes of trying to unclog it, was to just take like a sponge applicator from Dollar Tree that you use for crafting and just dip it in like the plaster filler stuff that I was using and just kind of dab it all over the wall. And actually that worked pretty good. Like I said, we don't really have orange texture in our house. It was just the closest texture spray I could find to what we did have. But this actually worked really well. Now it's going to be a pain to do this on a bunch of different walls when I am kind of to that process in the home. It's going to take a lot more time, but I am not buying any more of that texture spray because I feel like it was definitely a giant waste of time to do any of that. So this was my solution after I was quite frustrated. And like I said, it worked out pretty good. It did take quite a while to do, but it did match the texture pretty well after I gave it like a very, very light sand to smooth it out just a little bit once it was dry. So I kind of tested out like 2 different ways to sand. I used a 220 grit and I did like just a really light sand in some spots, like kind of like back and forth circular motion. And then in other spots, I kind of did like that swiping motion. I much preferred like the very light circular motion. It took a little bit longer to smooth everything out, but it didn't smooth it out so much. So overall, I do think it turned out fine. And I just kind of kept like testing it with my hand to see if it was like smooth enough that like the texture of the wall, I guess. But I didn't want to completely smooth out everything I had done because, well, it would have been a waste of time to hand sponge all of this plaster stuff all over the wall. It looks a little bit crazy right now, but don't worry. Once we put paint over it, it is going to look much less crazy. And I do think it blended in decent enough that I'm not going to try any more of that texture spray. I'm just not. If you guys have any recommendations about how to texture walls without having to buy a $16 can of texture spray, please let me know in the comments down below. One trick that I recently figured out, it's not really a trick and I've known it, but is to use a roller. A lot of the times I don't feel like wasting a whole roller, a whole like small paint tray, just to roll like little spots. So I'll use a brush, but it definitely doesn't give you the same texture that a roller does, especially if you have textured walls. You can, try and kind of dab the paintbrush a little bit, but it definitely is not the same. So I am glad that I went ahead and pulled out the roller and the small little paint tray and went over this because I do think it really helped with the overall texture of everything. And I didn't have some of those brush lines that you get when you just kind of pull out a brush and go about your way. Since I had our coffee bar, whatever you want to call this, cabinet kind of in the middle of the intersection, I did decide to go ahead and just clean the floor in this area before I pushed everything back. And this is my Tinco. I absolutely love it. I will have it linked down below. I did get it on a really good sale. The last few times I have checked because I've linked it for you guys, it has not been on sale. But definitely set a notification or something from Amazon or Target and see if you can get it on sale because it has really come in handy for us, even though we don't have that many hard floors. So after I got all that cleaned up, I am just kind of wiping all of this down because it was kind of dirty, it was kind of dusty, and I'm just going to get everything all cleaned up before I push it back into the corner. I'm not pushing it up super, super close. Like I don't remember if I went all the way up or not. Maybe I did, but I didn't want it to touch any of that wet paint. But I did want to be able to walk through the kitchen and the dining room without having to like stab myself in the side with the corner of this cabinet because that's what was definitely happening. So like I said, I'm just wiping everything down and kind of cleaning off that little divider shelf that was there. There was just a lot of cards and everything that we had from like Mother's Day, birthdays, and things like that. So just kind of straightening everything up so I can really kind of get the vibe in this area because eventually I am going to be putting a recipe rack in this space that I just painted and patched that I am going to actually build myself. So you'll definitely want to stay tuned for that video. we are back to the cabinet. So I turned these handles up and down. I just think I like them better that way. And I could not find any handles online that I liked that were 2 inches. So I'm going to have to drill new holes, and I'm hoping this will work. So let me show you what I got. So I went to Lowe's to get paint that I needed. And I was looking around. I knew I wasn't going to find any that were 2 inch, like hole to hole. But I did find these, and they were like 4 something a piece. Luckily, I only needed 4 of them, which is still more than I really wanted to spend, I guess, but it's fine. And they have that nice look to them, but they are a 1 hole situation, which means I'm going to have to drill a hole in the middle. And I am praying, yes, that it will cover the holes that are there. I am not going to fill those holes. I am just going to mark the middle of each, drill a hole in the middle, and then screw these in. And it has this little, like, I don't know if you can see those little prongs that are going to kind of catch and keep it in place. And I think this is just going to look so much better. So also, I want to show you something else that I got that I'm going to try and work on too. So I got these magnetic things. I got 2 different kinds. They were like one, I think this one like was 1 something, this one was 2 something. If I don't use them here, I can use them somewhere else, I'm sure. But I wasn't sure which kind I was going to need, or if any of them were going to work really. But I want to do more of a magnetic closure down here, because right now it is like this kind of closure that goes into like this. And this seems like it just like screws out. I don't even know if you can see that. It's like got a little ball on the end that goes in here, but this has definitely seen better days. So I'm going to try to remove that and use a magnetic closure instead, because they just don't close very well. Like this one you can see is like gapping open. That is like the closure part of it. This was super simple. I just took a ruler and measured the middle of the holes that were already there, since this is a 1 hole kind of knob. And then I just drilled those holes, and then I was able to attach the handles. Now it was tricky to get the handles like just so right level, and they are just the slightest bit off because it has those like little prongs that kind of catch the drawer front. So it was kind of tricky to keep those prongs in place while still like drilling it in and all of that. But I love the way these look so much better. I do want to refinish this at some point in time, just give it a nice fresh coat of paint, because there's still like an indent where those old kind of fancy handles were. And you can see that a little bit on the outside of these handles, but I am definitely loving this updated look for sure. And I'm happy I found these. They will be linked down below. My next step was to install those magnetic closure things that I got. So I am just taking off the little ball thing that goes into this other part. I don't know what they're called, but this side was pretty easy to take off. The other side did give me some troubles. The part that was connected to the actual cabinet, but not too bad. And I was able to use the same screw holes that were in the doors, and one of the screw holes that was already in that like brace piece in the middle of the cabinet. So I only had to make like 1 new hole on each side, which was pretty nice because I didn't have to drill into anything. I decided to use one of the magnetic things. I don't know which one it was, but I looked to kind of see which one had shorter screws. And I decided to use the one that had shorter screws because I did not have a lot of wiggle room on the doors or on that brace piece. So I am glad that I bought like 2 different kinds so that I could come home and test them out. The doors were a little bit wobbly still, so I went ahead and tightened the hinges a little bit, which probably needs to be updated because this side did not tighten very well. But I am loving the way this turned out, a fresh coat of paint, and I think it will be all ready to go. But we are not doing that in today's video. We are, however, going to be mapping out the recipe rack. This is what I have. It looks kind of crazy. It looks very close to the curtain rod, and I don't know that I love that, but here's what I'm thinking. Without having to move this out, because I just don't think, I mean, it's going to give me a little space, but not a lot. I'm wondering if I could just move the coffee pot over here and just kind of like switch it, because this thing is like very portable. It's just like a blender thing. So I don't necessarily need it right there. But I could put the coffee pot on this side. But the only problem with that is then it's going to be a lot of like black next to each other, but it's an appliance that just kind of like is what it is. So I might just have to switcheroo that to give me some extra space, because then I could scoot this whole thing over kind of into the corner a little bit So everything would just move like this way. And it would be kind of tucked into the corner, not like right up against the corner, but like very close to the corner. And I think that would make more sense because it wouldn't be as close to the curtain right there. So that's kind of what I'm thinking. I don't know. We're going to live with it right there for a little bit. I'm just going to walk past it for a few days and see how I like it. And I may even like decide to move the coffee pot and stuff like that to see how I'm vibing. That is going to wrap up today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you check out the video and the playlist on the screen. And as always, smash that subscribe button so you can become part of our YouTube family. Because in an upcoming video, we are going to be building that recipe rack and lots more. Again, thank you for watching, and we will see you in the next one. Bye.